watching KWQC TV, the news leader, making a difference in the Quad Cities. Live from the Quad Cities, with Morgan Otier and Kyle Keel, this is Quad Cities Live.
Today on QCL, it's the first day of Severe Weather Awareness Week in Iowa. And whether you live in Iowa or Illinois, it's important to be aware and prepared any day of the year. We'll share back-to safety tips.
And when disasters strike, the American Red Cross is there. Coming up, a closer look at the organization's services and how you can get involved, including a special Giving Day later this week.
And it's Monday, which means we introduce you to yet another adoptable four-legged friend. We'll meet Pam and her Office co-star sibling, who are ready to go as kitten season nears at the local shelters.
Welcome to Quad Cities Live on this Monday, March 24th. Can't believe it.
Wow.
I know.
It's flying by.
It is. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Morgan Otier, alongside my co-host Kyle Keel. Well, warmer weather is right around the corner, Kyle promises.
Yes, absolutely.
And that has many of us thinking about improvements to the outside of our homes.
Yeah, that's right. And if you're considering a new deck or fence, Lovewell can help with that. So what can you expect when installing a new fence for your home? Here with some answers is Josh Kotecki from Lovewell Fence. Josh, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
I've already been picking his brain.
You have, and of course, you know, this is the time of year where we're starting to think of some of those home improvements, especially outside. So talk about the process of getting a new fence or a new deck. Where should we start?
Sure, and we're very much excited for the weather to finally take a turn. So with this natural time of season, people start to migrate outside. This is when the wheels really get spinning in terms of outdoor space, whether it was you had your dog on maybe a leash all winter and now you've rethought that entire process and you want a fence, you want an enclosure. So if you are interested in the fencing world, the first and main thing that I would say is call because excitement is now building. We're starting to gather appointments and things are booking up relatively quickly. Correct. So that is the first place to start. At that point, what we'll have our office staff do is reach out and set up a formal appointment with one of our salespeople, and we will gladly come out, walk you through the entire process, whether it was through project photos or you know, we have specific samples that we can show and talk through your individual space. So that's a really informative process. It's more of a consultation than it is anything other than we're going to talk specifically about your space, and eventually we'll get you a price.
Yeah, that's really helpful that you can, you know, visit and talk people through it and, you know, figure out what their needs are in their property. And that's essentially what we were just doing before we started the show today. I'm sorry.
That was free.
Tons of
that was free.
I try. Tons of questions. Should have brought a photo. No, so tell us a little bit about the different materials that are available. I was surprised when I went on the Lovewell website. There's a lot there.
There sure is. We have a vast array of different styles, so it can be overwhelming if you were to go on there just blindly, but I think the main thing our sales staff does incredibly well is that we talk about the client's needs and their goals and their objectives. So do you have dogs? Do you have children? Are you trying to maybe garner a little bit more privacy than what you had previously? So to answer the question about styles, ornamental fence, we have chain link fence, we have wood privacy fence, we of course have vinyl fence, and we have a variety of styles within that vinyl fence. So we do a good job of covering all bases, but you know, and I'm sure we can come up with something that meets everyone's needs. So once we get to that point, basically it's just laying that fence out and then you know, gathering a price for that particular style. But our sales staff will work with you in seeing what best fits your goals.
Yeah, because we're seeing all those images on the screen just now, and it definitely varies. Like you can tell when people definitely want to hire like a privacy fence, you can't see anything through it. Some people it does feel more decorative, like you still want folks to drive by or walk by and see your yard and see your landscaping, but you still need the fence in place. So it's good that you can do all of that. And another thing too is the actual material. I heard you mention vinyl a couple of times, because there are different you know, treatments and things that you may have to look out for in the future if you decide to go like wood route or like wrought iron or things like that.
Yeah,
so those all vary.
Thank you for mentioning. So where we specialize is we're going to go the low maintenance aspect and the low maintenance route. We want to work with premium products that are not going to have you outside putting you to work, but rather enjoying the space. So whether it is the aluminum side of things, whether it's a low maintenance chain link, or whether it is the vinyl, we have products that really at the end of the day are very low maintenance, maybe require a wash, or maybe a natural rain will do the trick. So yeah, we want to keep low maintenance on the forefront, because we want you enjoying that space.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's much more than just saying, I want a fence, let's just get it done. I mean, like you said, the style's important, the type of material's important. So say you have this idea in mind of what you want to do, you can get an instant estimate on your website, right?
We absolutely can. So another great space is the website of working through the styles, but it has a really neat feature. You can go online, you can basically draw your fence on your property, and overlay, if you will, and it basically gathers linear feet, and you can plug in gates and plug in different styles, and it will auto-calculate a price.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So that's obviously a great starting point from a budgetary standpoint.
Sure.
And from there, that can get submitted directly to us, and what we would do is reach out, or you can obviously reach out to us, and then we get a sales professional there, verify everything, confirm everything, and that process is very much ongoing at that point.
That's a great resource to have if you really, like me, I'll admit, like if you really have no idea like what, you know, what the cost of something like this would be. At least it gives you a start, like a jumping off point, so that way when you have that consultation, you're not completely either shocked or you're not going into it completely blind. So, and then is this a virtual fence designer?
Yeah, I mean,
that's cool.
Technology is quite a thing. So what you're seeing here is, this is an app, and this is a company we were working with, basically a startup company. And essentially what this would apply to is you're meeting with one of our salespeople, and they can virtually bring in the fence and the various styles. So you're seeing here the ornamental component. I believe later it changes to a vinyl. So if you're really torn on what style works in my yard, how will it look, this is a great visual cue and a tool that we could implement.
You can really picture it with something like this. That's amazing. And I know you said, you know, you're already booking up with appointments. I mean, Lovewell, you know, it's a name we hear here in the Quad Cities all the time. We see Lovewell fences everywhere. So with that aside, you know, as far as like the day of breaking ground, with that aside, roughly how long does it take to install a fence?
There's of course some variables that apply to that. So let's say, for example, you have old wood fence or old chain link that needs to be removed. That plays a factor into the process. But I would say most times, and this may be shocking, is one-day installs. So many of those variables come into play here, but I can't tell you how many times we've had clients that have left for work in the morning
and come home.
They have come home to a fully enclosed fence yard, and they are just blown away. The results speak for themselves.
And what he's using right there, like, so those posts, you brought that, and I would hate to not reference before we wrap up here today, that you brought this with you. So that's really what keeps the fence in place. We're talking a lot about severe weather here today, and so that's huge that you guys are able to use, you know, instruments like this.
So this is our drive set system. Essentially, all of our styles of fence have some kind of this drive set system. So this happens to be the vinyl example I brought. So essentially what we're looking at is, this is the hidden components or the structural to the fence. Once this pipe gets driven, basically what we would do is sleeve the vinyl and build the fence accordingly. So you don't necessarily see this, but this is obviously a huge part of the structural integrity of the fence.
Interesting.
And it requires a no-dig system, which it maintains our yards. We don't ruin yards. We don't have tons and tons of dirt. And essentially when we walk away, it's a very finished, clean looking product.
Very nice. Awesome. Well, Lovewell Fence and Deck has a location in Davenport. You can call the number on your screen or visit them on the web at lovewellfence.com. You can get your consultation scheduled that way. Josh, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thank you, both of you.
Thank you.
Good to have you here today. Well, still to come on Quad Cities Live, we'll get to know not one but two adoptable four-legged friends, with one of them joining us in studio. Plus, we'll have details on the upcoming kitten shower hosted by the Humane Society of Scott County. Kitten season is almost here. It's a term used to describe the peak influx of kittens into shelters, usually occurring from April through the month of October.
Yes, and the Humane Society of Scott County is already preparing for that. Joining us now is Mindy Steele, the foster coordinator with the Humane Society of Scott County. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome back, I should say. We've had you on the show before. Who do we have with us today, this adorable little girl?
This little puffball is Pam.
Puffball. Pam the puffball.
Yes, she is about 3 months old. And this weekend she will be at PetSmart for our National Pet Adoption Weekend. And she'll be available along with one of her also puffy siblings.
Yes, so Pam had 3 siblings, correct?
Yep, she has 3 siblings. So,
okay.
And
they're all office characters.
Yes.
Yes.
Office.
I think we have a photo with Dwight, right?
That is correct.
We've got Dwight, and
Yeah.
you said that we had Jim
Yep.
and someone else, Michael, right?
That is correct.
They all came as a pair of 4, but there we go. We've got Pam and Dwight there.
Oh my gosh, they're so cute.
Yes, they are all long hair. They're all sweet.
Yeah, she's a puffball.
Yes, they've been in foster with a very good foster mom, so they are very social.
Yeah, Minnie, talk more about the fostering program because it's very helpful for shelters, especially going into kitten season when we know that, I mean, you all just get inundated with too many cats, quite
yes. We had almost 1,500 kittens that went into foster last year.
Wow.
We could not do any of this without our fosters. So many get brought in, people start working in their yards and find them and bring them in to us. And if it wasn't for our fosters, there's a chance that they could get sick and maybe stay unsocialized like they were when they were found outside. So our foster families teach them, you know, people are nice and they learn to live with other cats and dogs and kids. And
because I can't imagine how different their personalities would be, dogs and cats alike. I mean, especially when they come in as puppies or kittens.
Yes.
And if they're just kind of kept in that shelter from really the moment that they're little, the personalities are so different. She's going after the microphone.
She's pure kitten, pure kitten.
Pure kitten.
I love
She's
it.
so cute. She seems to have such a playful, sweet personality.
oh, very much. And she was actually one of the shyer ones of the set.
Really?
So, yeah.
So the fostering really does work.
Yes, it does.
Very, very cute. Oh my gosh. Well, you know, you talk about all the families that you're grateful for that foster all the animals, but I can only assume you're always looking for more.
Oh, yes. We do have on our website, we have an application to be a foster. This is anything from kittens and puppies to adults to seniors, hospice care. We need fosters for all of it, but it really is kitten season, and anybody who has the space for a kitten, we would love to have as a foster.
Okay.
On April 6th, we are having a kitten shower. This is to get us started for the kitten season. This will bring in hopefully some donations for our fosters to be able to use to help raise these babies. And you can also come there, ask any questions you'd like about fostering. I'll be there, so will my other foster coordinator co-partner.
You'll get all the questions answered.
Oh, yes. We would love to talk to you.
Well, and this seems like a really fun event because Poor Bros is doing it. They're that tap room in Moline. They really do a lot for area shelters and just different nonprofit organizations in helping to raise money. But it's just a great space to hold a fun event like this.
Yes. They've been really great about opening up their space for us.
She wants a microphone.
She really does. Just give it to her.
So what types of items are you most in need of?
Wet kitten food is a big one. Kitten formula, the nursing supplies, the bottles, any kind of heating pads. It's essential to keep them warm when they're that little. That's the life-saving part of it. So any kind of heating pads, heating discs, those are kind of pricier items. That's hard for the shelter to come across. Is a huge help for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what, if you don't know what you're buying but you want to be part of it, you can always make a monetary donation. The experts will be able to go out and pick up, you know, exactly what is needed for those families. And we should mention, along with that, when somebody agrees to be a foster family, you know, Humane Society, you guys provide all of the stuff that the foster families need.
Definitely.
So they don't need to go out and physically really get anything.
Nope, we'll supply food, blankets, the bowls, kennels if you need it. Obviously all the vet care, all of that is done through the Humane Society. We cover all that while they're under that foster umbrella. And if you do want to come out to that kitten shower event and ask some questions, World's Best Cat Litter is sponsoring us.
Oh.
They are giving away a year's worth of cat litter to someone there. We're giving a $50 gift card to Quickstar for it's a drawing for anybody who brings in items off of the wish list.
Awesome.
Incentives.
And Necker's Jewelers also donated a diamond necklace for us to do a silent auction. So
Necker's diamond necklace.
yes, this is definitely our biggest kitten shower that we've ever had. We're pretty excited about it.
You know, the ultimate goal is we want to try to keep these animals out of the shelter. So you have a free microchipping and rabies clinic coming up.
Yes,
April
we
1st?
do. Yes.
April 1st.
Okay, coming up next week.
Yes, so anybody in Scott County can come, free microchip and rabies, and I believe if you are outside of Scott County, it's only $10.
Yep.
Oh, very cost effective.
Yes.
Yeah, very cost effective. Yeah, and you can do the rabies vaccine as well. And that is just so helpful.
It is, yeah.
A lot of times it's hard for people to sometimes make that appointment, get into the vet, but this just makes everything very easy for folks. Very cool.
Very convenient. Well, the Humane Society of Scott County is located on West Central Park Avenue in Davenport. The address and phone number on your screen. And if you want to check out the many adoptable pets online, you can visit hssc.us. And they are always posting those cute pictures on their Facebook page as well. Mindy, thank you so much. And thanks for bringing in Pam. She's such a joy.
She is so sweet, yes. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
Coming up on QCL, March is Red Cross Month, and there's still time to make a lasting impact on the organization. We'll learn more about how your donation allows volunteers to serve local communities like ours.
You're watching Quad Cities Live.
March is Red Cross Month, allowing us to celebrate the life-saving impact of the organization, whether it's blood donation or the Red Cross response to a variety of disasters from fires to storms. Joining us now from American Red Cross of Illinois is Jace Eustace. Jace, welcome to the show today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. We have lots to get to. It is a very special month for the American Red Cross, and Red Cross Giving Day is actually coming up this Wednesday. I believe it's the 26th.
Yep.
So what is that day about? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. So March is Red Cross Month as a whole is something that we've celebrated for over 80 years since President Roosevelt actually made that first proclamation. It's been celebrated every year in the United States since to kind of just celebrate the mission of the Red Cross, everything that we do around the country to help those in need. And Giving Day, like you said, something coming up on Wednesday is just kind of a way to rally. We're looking to rally about 30,000 supporters from across the country to just come together, donate what they can, or donate blood, or to sign up to volunteer and able to help the mission of the Red Cross. And it's just kind of a way that we celebrate kind of bringing all of that mission together.
Absolutely. A great way to close out the month that is, designated for the Red Cross. So people can find out more as well just by heading to the website, which we'll show everybody at the end of the show today. But just a reminder that that is coming up and something worth celebrating. Let's talk a little bit more about the ways that the Red Cross responds. We've touched on them a little bit, starting with blood donations. This is a really big component of what you do.
Absolutely. So at the American Red Cross, we collect over 40% of the nation's blood supply, and something that has been around and something that we've been doing for a very long time. Every 2 seconds in the United States, someone is in need of life-saving blood. And when there's someone that's in an emergency situation, they need to have that blood on the shelves in order to help save lives. So it's something that we have to make sure that we continue to collect those donations. We have to collect over 12,000 donations from across the country every day just to keep up with the blood supply.
Wow.
So it's something that's very near and dear to the mission of the Red Cross, because it really does help people in need, people battling cancer, people with sickle cell disease, new mothers, premature children as well. There's just a never-ending list of people that can be in need of life-saving blood at any moment, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think until you are touched by that, or somebody in your family or a close friend has gone through this and has, been in need of a life-saving blood donation, you don't really realize how important it is. But, through the Red Cross, you kind of share those stories and you try and spread that awareness so people really understand it could be you, it could be somebody close to you. And so blood donation is just super important.
Absolutely. And over 60% of the population is actually eligible to donate blood. There's a lot of people out there that might think that because they maybe take a certain medication or they've had a certain procedure that they're ineligible to donate blood, but over half the population is eligible and only 3% does on a regular basis. So it's important for more people to get out and just make that a part of your schedule. You can sign up to donate blood every 56 days. So a lot of people just put it on their calendar, they donate blood, and then 2 months later they make that appointment to donate again.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, and there's a lot of resources again on the web about that, or if you need to find a blood donation site, or if you want to host a blood drive of some sort. So all of that is available. Now, additionally, traditionally, the Red Cross does respond to a variety of disasters, and I think in a lot of ways this is how people really identify and know the Red Cross. That includes a lot of fires. We actually just got some information today from you into the newsroom about the Red Cross responding to, I believe it was like 6 victims of fires within just the last week, and that is just specifically in our area alone. So this is something that Red Cross volunteers are very, very accustomed to.
Absolutely. So at the Red Cross, we respond to over 60,000 disasters every year, and a large majority of those are home fires. So while we know and we still respond to those larger disasters that you see across the country, such as wildfires, hurricanes, tornadoes, most of the work as far as the number of disasters responded to are right here in the local communities where you see that response to those home fires, because a home fire to a family or an individual is just as devastating as any other disaster, and a large most of that work is carried out by the volunteers. We're made up of over 90% volunteers that sign up. They answer the phone call day and night, never to go out there and just help people that are truly in need after they could have lost everything in a home fire.
Yeah, absolutely. The volunteers make such a difference. And you have a program called Sound the Alarm.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about what that is?
Absolutely. So this is a great month to really talk about that. Actually, just a couple weeks ago, we did a Sound the Alarm event right here in Davenport, where we basically get together with community partners, we get together with volunteers, and we kind of spread the word, hey, come out and make an appointment. And then what we do is we go out into the community and we install free smoke alarms into the homes of people who truly need them. And what we do as part of this program is we try to take any sort of barriers people might have as to why they don't have working smoke alarms, because it's incredibly important to have working smoke alarms in your home. It can decrease the risk of death in a home fire by about half if you have working smoke alarms. So we love to take any sort of barriers out. It could be financial, it could be elderly who maybe aren't able to get up on ladders in order to change things. You just want to make sure that if people need working smoke alarms, we can do what we can to get them into their homes. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, just even being in the news business, so many times you hear did not have working smoke alarms in the home, and that is just, it's devastating, and it can be helped, and that's what you guys are all working to do. You did speak a little bit about volunteers just now. I mean, these are the folks that we see respond to these house fires, but also when there is a devastating hurricane or a tornado. I mean, we even have volunteers from, right here in our chapter that travel to these places to help out. So just tell us a little bit about what different volunteers do, what they can sign up to do, and how they can sign up to be a volunteer, what kind of time commitment it is.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a little biased, but our volunteers are amazing. The work that they do day and night, what they sign up to do, we have so many people that they could drive our emergency response vehicles across the country, whereas where you kind of see those big van-like vehicles parked where hurricanes have hit, where tornadoes have hit, where wildfires have hit, where you might see on national news. But we also have people that volunteer their time here locally, where they're welcoming people into these blood drives. They're part of our disaster action team, like we talked about, where they're responding to home fires, or the people that help provide services to the armed forces as well, welcoming them when they sign up, when they first enlist, all the way through to their navigating their life as a veteran as well. So there's a number of positions you can serve as a volunteer, and the thing with volunteerism and with the Red Cross is we work on your time as far as how much time you're able to give us. We work with that. If you're able to give us a lot, and you're able to give us a little, we want to make sure that we find an opportunity that works well for you and your schedule.
That's great, making it so easy. Well, of course, Giving Day is coming up this week. If you want to donate to the Red Cross, whether you want to donate your time, your money, or life-saving blood, be sure to visit them on the web at redcross.org or redcrossblood.org. And again, that reminder, Wednesday, March 26th is Red Cross Giving Day if you do so choose. Jace, a wealth of knowledge. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, anytime. Much more to come in our next half hour, including a visit from the Illinois Extension Office ahead of spring planting season, and they are hosting an in-depth series. We also know the spring season in the Midwest is synonymous with storms. We'll get more information as this week is Severe Weather Awareness Week.
And we do need to be aware for the potential of severe weather here later this week into the weekend. Details on a first alert day coming up. But right now, temps in the 50s. Not a bad day here for March standards. We have lots of sunshine right now, but we will see those clouds increase and thicken overnight. And we are tracking several chances of rain. All the details coming up in your first alert forecast after the break.
accurate and reliable. This is your First Alert Forecast with meteorologist Kyle Keel.
Well, after that very gloomy, kind of dreary day Sunday, it's definitely nice to see that sunshine back today. Everywhere Camera Network starting to see some of those clouds move on in, especially evident there in Ottumwa as well as Burlington, Iowa City. Dubuque, Skyview, and Davenport as well as in Bettendorf. Things are looking pretty good here, but it is still a little bit on the windy side. So we're still going to see some gusty winds here through the early evening hours, and then they'll start to relax here as we head into the overnight. Several chances of rain here as we head throughout the week, and even some thunderstorms here as we head late week and especially into the weekends. So newly into the Weather Center, we have issued a first alert day here for Saturday, mainly toward the evening hours, and we'll get to that here in just a moment. But let's talk about those winds right now. These are sustained winds out of the west, anywhere from 15 to almost 30 miles per hour, so peak gusts between 30 and 40 miles per hour here this afternoon. But notice you get west of Waterloo and Ottumwa, we kind of dropped the color table there. That is an indication of those calmer winds that we'll get in here later this evening. But over the next several hours, we'll see those winds between 25 and 35 miles per hour. After the sun sets, yeah, those wind gusts will be generally below 15 miles per hour. So we'll get a little bit of a break in the wind, but hey, March and April are statistically, climatologically, our windiest months here as we transition from the cold winter to the mild spring. As far as radar right now, we have a couple of returns here off in portions of central and southeastern Iowa. This is just a sign of the atmosphere becoming a little more moist, a little more saturated. It's not quite reaching the ground with dry air in place, but you can kind of see some scattering of some showers and storms getting caught up in the flow. I should say mainly showers that are going to continue to migrate their way to the south and east, and they'll be in here as we head throughout the overnight and perhaps even into the early morning hours. But notice here for the hour-by-hour forecasts, we're not seeing too many rain icons, so these are going to be very spotty in nature. Temperatures drop to around 40 tonight, and we're back to the 50s here as we head into tomorrow. So Exact Track showing those clouds increase and thicken here as we head through the evening hours. It's probably not until midnight or after that we start to see a few scattered showers roll through. Most of this is happening when you're sleeping. Might be a couple of isolated showers here through the day on Tuesday. We'll get some sunshine in the afternoon. Another disturbance rolls on through with yet another round of showers here as we head into Tuesday evening. Wednesday looks primarily dry, but we'll have another round of rain heading Wednesday night into Thursday. But notice I've said lack of thunderstorms. We're not expecting thunder with it. No first alert days for that. But we could see anywhere from a trace to about a quarter of an inch. So these are just nuisance showers. But we do need to keep an eye on the potential for some severe weather here heading into the weekend, especially Saturday. Looks to be our highest threat right now. So we've got a first alert day from 6 p.m. to midnight. We'll have highs near 70 here during the day. So warm temperatures. That'll lead to scattered storms in the evening as we have a pretty strong storm that's going to be moving in. And there is some possible severe weather. So details are limited right now, so we'll get more information here as we head throughout the week. But in the meantime, we are on the upward swing here as far as our temperatures go. We'll have highs in the mid to upper 50s here tomorrow and Wednesday. Even into Thursday, we'll be closer to 60 degrees. Low 70s here Friday into Saturday, and then that system rolls through here heading Saturday night into Sunday, bringing more chances for rain and storms. And again, we'll have to watch that threat for severe weather.
Yeah, definitely spring showers.
Yes,
is what we're starting to see. I'm okay with that, especially when we see 70s.
Yes,
on the
70s are welcome
day.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it is officially spring, and we've already had several first alert days recently due to the threat of some potentially dangerous storms. Right. Some of them very dangerous in parts of our viewing area. Kyle, this happens to be Severe Weather Awareness Week in Iowa.
Yes, that's right. Illinois had theirs earlier in the week, or earlier in the month, I should say, and that's just due to the fact that Illinois is kind of, a little farther south as far as longitude goes, so they typically see more severe weather. But it's really important to note that severe weather can happen any time of day, any day of the year. I mean, we've already had a few rounds of severe weather here, so it's very important. But each specific day has a certain topic. So the first one that we're going to talk about is lightning. And in pure Kyle fashion, I left my clicker over there. So let me just talk about some of these facts about lightning. Now, lightning can be very deadly. In fact, the 18-year average for deaths is about 27 per year in the United States. So it can be very deadly, and that's because lightning is hotter than the surface of the sun. I mean, we're talking about 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit. There you go. It can be hotter than that at some points in time.
Well, that's why you don't want to be outside. That's why they cancel games and all that stuff. Yeah.
When thunder roars, go indoors. That's when thunder roars, go indoors. That's what we like to say. That's kind of a catchy phrase to get people inside. Lightning strikes the U.S. about 25 million times per year, and I mean, triple that worldwide. And then on average, we've got about 27 to 28 people that die each year in the U.S. So keep that in mind as I show you these lightning deaths over the last 10 years. Notice 2019, that stands out, or 2016 rather, that stands out. 40 deaths, but I want you to take note. 2018, 2019, we had 21 deaths. Notice we kind of go back and forth between the lower teens to upper teens. So the word is getting out. I think we're doing a good job at keeping people ahead of the weather, keeping people safe, and keeping them inside during thunderstorms, because last year there were 12 deaths. That's 12 deaths too many, but it's well below that average of 27.
Well, that's good. We want to talk a little bit about tornado safety, right? That's something that's really top of mind for people, especially this time of year in the Midwest. I mean, you hear those tornado sirens, and I was just watching a documentary over the weekend, folks living, in Missouri, where they said, well, we hear them all the time, so we don't really pay that much attention anymore.
And that is the problem. Anytime you hear an outdoor siren, because they can sound for severe thunderstorms as well, which we'll get into, but you want to make sure that you're going inside and you're turning on your TV or you're looking at your app to see what's going on, because tornadoes, as we know, can cause a lot of damage, and they are quite deadly. And they can also happen any time of year. I think back to the most tornadoes in Iowa that happened on December 15th of 2021. So it's very important to understand that tornadoes can happen any time of year. Now, this is the average number of tornadoes in the state of Iowa from 1999 to 2023. Notice January and February, pretty quiet months, but we start to see that uptick here in March, and especially April through June. That's when we really start to see the most number of tornadoes. But notice October, November, and December, the cooler months, we average 2 to 3 tornadoes. And the same distribution can be said in Illinois as well. But notice in Illinois, over the last 20 years or so, it's been much more than just a couple of months that have no tornadoes. I mean, every single month has had at least one tornado.
Well, it makes me think of the one in Washington, Illinois, that was like in November. And it was devastating. And I remember covering that, and we were all freezing. And you just don't think of it that way, right? You think it's going to be warmer months, and
that
not
day,
always the case.
That day definitely sticks out in my mind as well. It was very warm and humid, and then the next day we had the cool air to go behind it as well. So you always want to stay safe during a tornado as well. So last year was a record number of tornadoes. So a couple of stats for you. Illinois and Iowa only average between about 55 and 60 tornadoes per year. Check this out. Iowa had 125 tornadoes last year. That's the most tornadoes on record. The previous record was 120 back in 2004. In Illinois, there were 142, which beats the previous record of 124 back in 2006. And I want to emphasize that, lately with our better satellites, we're able to detect tornadoes a little better.
Taking that into account.
Yeah, we're taking that into account. So we get a lot of EFUs, or undefined tornadoes. It's where they don't necessarily cause any damage, but we know based on satellite that they did touch down. So obviously the big tornado safety tips, if you're ever under a warning, is to get away from the windows. Be inside. Nowhere.
Interior room.
Yeah, exactly. Interior room. I mean, you've heard us say it 1,000 times, Morgan. You got this down. It's definitely best to be inside. So if you're out on the road and the emergency alert goes off in your car, find somewhere, a gas station, a grocery store. They all have their shelter place. You just want to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. So if you don't have the basement, which is the best place to be, interior room or closet, just anywhere without windows, take something to cover your head, because you just never know if there's going to be flying debris.
Oh gosh, all good tips. And I might know the answer to this, but I'm not gonna take a guess. Talking about the difference between a severe thunderstorm and just your regular run-of-the-mill thunderstorm. I feel like it has something to do with wind.
It has something to do with wind. Something to do with hail as well. So it has nothing to do with the amount of heavy rain or the amount of lightning, but it definitely has something to do with the wind. It's 58-mile-per-hour winds or greater, or hail that is quarter size or larger. That's about 1 inch in diameter. And it's also important to be prepared. So when a watch is issued, you want to prepare. That means conditions are favorable for severe weather, and generally these watches last 4 to 8 hours. The warning means that you need to take action. There's a warning in place. It's either been detected on radar, or storm spotters have spotted that severe thunderstorm or spotted that tornado. You want to take your action right away. So have multiple ways to receive severe weather alerts. We've got weather radio, we've got the radio, television, apps, social media, sirens, all great ways, but at nighttime, really the best tool to have is a weather radio, because that NOAA weather radio will go off anytime, any time of day, any day of the year. Severe weather is issued for your location. So you want to have multiple weather alerts, but also we've got the KWQC First Alert Weather app that will keep you updated as well. So lots to really keep you updated on throughout the severe weather season. Obviously flooding is a big one as well. Whether it's flash flooding or river flooding.
It's slower moving of a weather disaster, but not flash flooding, that's for sure. but it's a weather issue nonetheless.
It is. So if we see roadways like this, don't be like that person in these vehicles and drive through it.
Nice car to be driving through.
I mean, yeah, you just don't know how deep that water is.
It's true, and what's under
can just
there,
do so much damage.
It really can. You can totally destroy your car. Sharon would hate that I said totally destroy in the same sentence if she even heard that. All good information from Kyle today, and Kyle does this all the time. So if you're not a regular QCL watcher, you don't get to see him do his thing every single day. He shares a lot of behind-the-scenes weather info on social media, along with really what is important to know day of, and you can follow along at facebook.com/Kyle Keel Weather, and that is weather WX. You can see it there on your screen. Kyle, great job. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'll always, any questions you have, I'll answer them for you.
He'll answer them. All right, perfect. Well, with April showers come May flowers. The Illinois Extension Office will join us next with a preview of the upcoming Spring Home Horticulture Series.
You're watching Quad Cities Live.
The Illinois Extension's Spring Series of Horticulture starts next month with a variety of engaging classes led by local experts. And the time to reserve your spot is now, as these workshops do fill up very quickly. Joining us with more information on what to expect is Tracy Jo Mulliken with the Illinois Extension. Tracy Jo, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Morgan.
Absolutely. Well, you've decorated our space so beautifully here today. And you got these flowers right here locally. We had the whole event over the weekend, and that's where these are from.
They are. They're from the QC Expo Center Flower and Garden Show, and they are all for sale starting, well, today at 2 o'clock. So I just wanted to give a shout out to them if anybody's interested in getting either some houseplants or some bulbs or some spring flowers.
Perfect.
Go down there and help them out.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for bringing them here today. Today we're talking about the Spring Series. So tell us a little bit about what that series is and ultimately why it's kind of designed to help all of us.
It is. So the Spring Series is put on by the Master Gardeners, and it is, as it says, a series. So each week we do 3 of them. There are 2 speakers. So the first week is Monday, April 14th from 6 to 8 at the Holiday Inn in Rock Island. And we are talking about mushrooms. So we have Joshua McAtee, who is the owner of Wild Growth Gourmet Mushrooms. He is going to come in and he's going to talk about how you can forage local ones and then how to also grow them.
Cool.
So he's going to explore the mushrooms that you can enjoy.
That's great. We have someone, and I don't know if it's the same gentleman at the local farmers market, the Freight House, that has all of these amazing mushrooms that he sells, like oyster mushrooms and things like that, that they grow on their property. I just think it would be cool to know how to do that yourself.
There are so many different kinds that you don't even know about. You go through the grocery store and you just see a couple and you're like, oh, that's all that there is. And then, everybody talks about morels, but there's so many more, and that you'll get to experience some of that at the Spring Series. And then Emily Swihart, our local educator, she's going to talk about managing invasive species in your backyard.
Okay.
So that's week 1.
Okay.
And then, so they start at 6 o'clock at night.
6 to 8, and you get 2 speakers in every single one of these. So there are 3 opportunities, and you get to see 2 different presentations.
You do. We changed this a few years ago because we decided if you were there and it was only an hour, it wasn't really worth coming. So we decided to go ahead and do 2 each week. And that way it was a little bit more fun, and you can have a conversation with people in between. We do some snacks for you. So it's just a fun evening to get out. And then week 2 is April 21st. It's from 6 to 8. Again, it's at the Holiday Inn. And we are doing Backyard Bird Cousins with Jimmy Weebler from Nahant Marsh. And then we are doing forest bathing. And a lot of people may not realize what that is.
Right, yeah.
But it is a stress release and a management as far as anxiety. So we have Leslie, who is a professor at Western. She's going to come in and she's going to talk about forest bathing.
That is awesome. Like, kind of, it seems almost meditative. Like
it is. It's a very zen moment.
I love that.
So 2 different experiences. Definitely, birding is also very relaxing for a lot of people. And then for forest bathing will also be.
That's very cool. And then the final one, April 28th. This is a really good one to sign up for as well.
It is. So we have 2 of our favorite educators. We have Kristen Bogdanos, who is our nutrition educator at the Rock Island County Extension. She's going to do Preserve Like a Pro.
Oh, I love that. I love
So whether it's drying, canning, any making mead, any of those types of things, she's going to show you how to preserve stuff. And then we have Bruce Black, who is going to explore new vegetable and different varieties for this year.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so all 3 weeks we'll have a different topics. We'll have fun all weeks, and the cost is $15 if you want to go to 1 week.
Okay.
Or if you want to sign up for all 3 weeks, it's only $40. And we do have the QR code there on the screen for you. You could also follow the link at the bottom, or you can call the extension office and get signed up.
Absolutely, and this really truly is the perfect time for a lot of this stuff. A lot of people are just starting to think about what they want to plant. Of course, if they're not already growing in their homes right now from seeds, you are thinking about your garden.
It is. And this last week and going to the Expo Center and seeing all of these flowers really got you going. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's very cool. So thank you so much for bringing these beautiful flowers today. And if you have any gardening questions, I mean, we're talking beyond this series itself, but just general gardening questions, you can always contact you guys. Master Gardeners are there all the time, so people can just call the number right there on your screen, or you can submit your question anytime at the website at the bottom, go.illinois.edu/askthemastergardener. Very easy. And a quick recap of the classes that Tracy Jo mentioned. They are being held Monday evenings from 6 to 8 at the Holiday Inn in Rock Island. This is next month. Again, registration is $15 per class. Cheaper if you sign up for all 3, and you can do that online at go.illinois.edu/spring-series-25. Tracy Jo, thank you so much for the wealth of info, as usual. Of course, still to come on QCL, our wins of the weekend, including a special anniversary for our own Kyle Keel. We'll be right back. Tomorrow on QCL, a closer look at Camp Courageous, a year-round recreational program for individuals of all ages with disabilities.
Plus, a visit from Wallace's for details on the upcoming Orchids 101 class set for this weekend. That much more when you join us tomorrow at 3 right here on Quad Cities Live.
Yeah, well, it's time now for our wins of the weekend. And, well, it was a great weekend.
It was.
It was a little cooler outside, but it was still fabulous. So you had a great win. I already saw it on social media.
Yeah, so, you know, I already talked, I think the Throwback Thursday last week, we talked about how it was my anniversary. That should have been my win of the week on Friday, but just a whole lot of life happening here. So we celebrated on Saturday, and we went to the Tangled Wood in Bettendorf. That pretzel was phenomenal.
Eat it now.
The cheese cubes, phenomenal. The drinks, phenomenal. I mean, it was just a great experience. I neglected to share. My wife would not appreciate me putting her on television, but we had a really good time. You know, we don't get away from the kids very often.
No.
So it was just a nice night to just kind of unwind and reflect on the last 5 years and the last almost quarter of a century that we've been knowing each other. So yeah, those drinks, Cosmo and Wanda, I think you saw my Instagram.
Yes.
Fairly Odd Parents, if anyone's younger than the age of 40. They know what we're talking about. But anyway, yeah, we had a great time.
Yeah, well, that's wonderful. Yeah. Again, happy anniversary.
Thank you.
And hot tip, the Tangled Wood with the kids, it's a great spot to be all summer.
Is it? Yeah, okay. We'll have to keep that in mind.
Carson will have his run of all the grass and everything. So
we will return.
It is awesome. Mine is actually very family oriented too. I had a really good weekend where Darbs and I spent the entire weekend together.
Yeah.
Doing stuff. On Friday, I took her out for a little girls' night with me and one of my best friends, Kirsten. There she is at the last picture house there in downtown Davenport. Yeah, dancing around, having a blast on girls' night. But we had yeah, she's a real ham.
She is.
Yeah, she's always a ham. We went to Smash Pizza.
Is it good?
The next day. Yes, Smash is incredible. It was really good, and that was her request. She loves it there. Yeah. Then we did a little shopping together on Saturday because she's growing like a weed and doesn't fit into anything. So yeah, ultimately, and then we went and had breakfast together on Sunday morning, and then just spent the day being lazy all day Sunday.
It was the perfect day to do that.
That's her doing you know, in Austin Powers when he walks down the stairs. That's what she's trying to do there, and then
she's doing a great job.
Breaks out into dance, but yeah.
You got a little performer on your hands here.
I absolutely do. She speaks in all different kinds of accents, and she's a lot of fun to hang out with.
She likes the limelight.
I would recommend it. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching QCL.
Your news at 4 with Sharon is coming up next. Have a great evening.